Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're doing great. Alexis, Nigar, Matthew, Anna, Justin, Arya, Marco, and lots of beautiful names here. I'm very pleased to meet with you, and I hope everything goes well at your end. If you can hear me clearly, please type 1. Oh, great. Merci beaucoup. Well, if there is a need that someone wants to pick the mic and start speaking, please let me know then for sure. But the thing is, because the number of friends that they're gonna be in our section would be over 300. Can you imagine? I was like, wow. Definitely, it was like if it was face to face, I would freak out. So we have over 300 friends in the class. So that's why I guess typing would be more convenient. Yeah, apart from it, let me just share my screen. At the beginning, I always open the video. Share the screen. Okay. I'm sorry. So can you please type 2 if you can see my screen? Lovely. Bravo. Okay. Let me go without any delay to Python programming folder. Once in a while, I'm gonna upload a package for you that contains the very updated version of the files in a folder called all-in-one. So pretty close to what you see on my computer, you can see at your end. Let me grab this. So I think it's easy to follow. If you just go to the content, you see most of the time in the, that is funny. I have forgotten to send things here. My apologies. You will have, let me just show you another example. That's the beginning of the semester and things like that happen. If I go to another course that I have here, like this one, you see in the course content, we will have everything that you might need, okay? So all the slides, PowerPoints, everything, you're gonna see them here. I guess I've uploaded things. Let me just do one thing right now. Okay, so if you all please go to the general info and resources and refresh your page, you're gonna see all these files, right? Bravo. Thank you very much. Honestly, I'm sure that I uploaded them in one of the places, but maybe in a wrong folder. I have to double check. Let's go together to the first file. I'm going to introduce them. The first one is libraries. Thank you very much for confirmation. If I go here if you see, this library provides us abundance number of computer books. So it really depends on what you want to search, like going to computer engineering, going to computer languages. You don't need to pay for anything. There are tons of free resources. And once in a while, for instance, for Java, for Python, and a lot more, if for instance, this is something that I teach for the advanced deep learning at George Brown. So anything that you might need, you can find them there, right? Before I forget that, I'm very absent-minded. This is the @class code for today. I'm gonna type it down here for you. Please, if our friends joined later and they ask, I would be grateful if you help them find it. Okay. Thank you. And there are other resources as well. So guys, I was a student not long ago, so I was always worried to go and buy physical books. So these are gonna help us not to, yeah. And there are other things that I have mentioned here, like some of our friends want to learn beyond the content that we have in the current semester. This one, this amazing Python learning, and it mentioned for beginners.
Mobile games are going big. Free Fire Max is now a.
If you look at it,
in Python. Now, Python is one of the most popular programming languages out there, and it's by far.
This gentleman is just amazing. And I'm going to answer all these questions, don't worry. So this is like 4.5 hours, right? And there are other nice tutorials. I found one 9-hour, another 4-hour tutorial, and so on. So these are just a few. Some of our friends might need to work with Anaconda, huh? And then for that case, I always suggest to my friends that, guys, before installing anything, the best would be watching 10-15 minutes video before installing. And the reason for that, there might be just one simple checkbox that you ignore, and then you need to do the process all over again, and takes hours and hours to undo or redo the process. I have provided some few Anaconda installing videos. And why Anaconda? Why Python Jupyter Notebook? And why this language? These are the questions that at the end of today's session, we are going to answer all of them, okay? The most dominant among them all for me that I use the most is Google Colab, right? And you're gonna find all these videos in that file. So at your convenience, please watch them. Because many of you already interested to know about the environments, guys. Personally, I myself, I'm platform agnostic. So if you use PyCharm, if you use Visual Studio Code, if you use Atom, if you use Jupyter Notebook or Colab, they're all the same for me. So it doesn't matter as long as you can just get the job done and the process done. That would be great. Okay. And for the courses that we have together, if there are two, for instance, versions, mostly one would be the Express or Community or Basic or whatever, that would be enough. So you don't need to purchase anything. So whatever we can cover in the semester would be fine using the basic version of the application that you are using, okay? I hope that I answered that question. The other thing is, do you see that there is one Python by Satish here? Okay, guys, if you can see that, please type 3. Lovely. Thank you very much. Okay. And if you see here, if you go inside Satish file, if you see that there are 14 files, technically 13 PowerPoints, plus one Jupyter interactive Python notebook. And why the name is Satish? He was one of the amazing team members like you who worked with me. He went through one of the courses, online courses, and he finished the whole course, online course, and converted all the sessions into PowerPoints and said, it's going to help my friends, my future classmates. So to honor what he did, I never changed the name. Always you see Satish for the PowerPoints. In every semester, there are friends that they add more into, and honestly, if I want to give weight, I am the one who learns more from you compared to the other way around. So, and today we just work on one of the PowerPoints of him as a sample. And the other thing is, which is very important for our most of our friends to know, is this one. And can you please, our friends asked at where you can find this. Please make sure that you can go to course outline here, and this is the file that we are, okay? If you could find it, please type 1. Great. Okay, thank you very much. The thing that I want to quickly show would be the part that shows the scheme of the evaluation. Except week number 1, that we just wanted to have a kind of introduction. Every week we are going to have one quiz, totally 11 quizzes, and I'm going to pick top 8 out of 11 quizzes. So if you miss 1 or 2 or 3 quizzes, don't worry. We will have, we are going to pick the top 8 out of 11. And it's a kind of cumbersome process if I want to open it for every individual if they miss any quiz. And the reason for that is not only the time consuming. I'm going to talk about it next week, which we are going to have the first quiz. Okay. But for now, just to quickly tell you, is just going to assessments and quizzes, and you're going to have the quiz. For the quizzes, we are going to have 2 days, means the day that we finish the lecture, and it would be about the lecture content. And a day after means that Mondays and Tuesdays. That's the first thing. And because after that, nobody sees the quiz folder, if anyone misses and asks me that, Reza, I missed a quiz, so open it for me. The problem is, if I open it for one, everybody can see, and that's a confusion. And I received tons of emails that, Reza, what is this quiz? What is this new quiz? And I was like, okay, just one person missed a quiz, and I have to explain. So the best is to, because we have 8 out of 11. If you miss 1 or 2, not a problem. 3, no problem. Just try to participate in the next quizzes. That's about the quiz part. For the lab exercises, as you could see, we will have 8 labs. So participating in 8 labs out of many that you have would be essential. You're going to get 1 mark for every single lab. And the labs are designed a way that they help you to complete your assignments. So my suggestion is, please participate in all the labs to just get the acceptable result. And the term project is not very much far from it. Well, the quizzes, there is no control, so you can just consider it as open book. Okay. One who designs and provides assignments and final project is me. And the one who marks and takes care of these things are your lab professor. Okay. So if you have any question, for instance, the format of submission or how to submit or what to do for the labs, please talk to Maziar. And let me just briefly tell you one thing, which is super important, and I want to make it very much clear at the beginning. As you see, I consider all of you as my colleagues, and I consider the whole sessions very professional and very essential. Guys, you have no idea. I slept just 4 hours last night to make all the content up to date, and you're going to see the difference between the things that I have today and the things that I had yesterday. So there are lots of changes even in the final moments, because for me, it's not just coming and teaching something and finishing my job and going to the other. I think that my role is essential for the future of ourselves. So I consider it very seriously. You barely can find me 1 minute late for the class. And this is super important to me. And I very much encourage everyone to minimize the amount of distraction things that you could face in the class. And the reason for that is, guys, I know that this is the age that I had, like I was at your age 2 years ago. And I wanted to do everything except just learning. So I cannot preach something that I haven't practiced. But what I could say is, it's not a matter of deleting the fun I try to make the course that we have together fun. That's one thing. But I think that the best is to minimize the distractions that we could have. So that is my, for instance, guys, I put my phone on airplane mode. I do not work with it till after these 2 classes that I have back to back today. This is one thing. And the other thing is the labs are super essential and important. And there is one fact I want to explain that too. Before COVID, we had less number of people in the classes. And after COVID, it was a kind of shock for us how to take care of the new situation. Apart from that, we had a drastic incremental grades jump in the students. So I don't need to explain why, you can guess. And unfortunately, the performance of the graduates were drastically low in terms of face-to-face interactions that I had. I'm telling that as not venting out, only telling you because we want to consider what could be the solution to get the best out of the classes that we have. After that, the other shock happened to educational system, and that was ChatGPT. And you are familiar more than anybody else, even your instructors. And the thing is, all of these potentials could be in a way that learners could take the advantage of those moments. Like if COVID hit, I'm at home, I don't need to commute, so I can just get the best out of this situation. Or if I have ChatGPT, how can I use it in a constructive way? And that is really matter. You see, computer essentials, computer programming has been there for almost 70 years. And the structure was not changed that much. So if among you guys, there is one Reza, like Reza, and that is not very good in programming, we have 2 options to not take that much, serious the course that we have, or think that, you know what, I'm not a programmer, I know. That's one approach. But I think one constructive approach could be, okay, how about this? Let's start and give it a shot, give it a try. And the good thing is, guys, I don't mind if you have no background in programming. We are going to provide lots of foundations. Those who are already good in programming come to me, say that, Reza, I want more from this course. And I'm going to define project for you to put into your resume. I did that individually for friends. And if not, if you think that you need more practice in the current subject, so worry not. We are going to do lots of practices together. The big part of the burden is on the shoulder of you and Maziar, who is the lab instructor. Guys, I'm not saying that to just make you feel happy about it. I just had 2 sessions with Maziar, and actually, honestly, Maziar is an amazing person, and I already learned lots of things from Maziar. So I'm sure that you're going to have fun time with Maziar, learning from him just the way that I did. And I think that the way that he designed labs to help you gradually get to the assignments, and then assignments get to the term project, is just amazing. So we just work as a team. I'm not talking about me and Maziar, I'm talking about all of us. And the goal is just your success. And if you think that I have time to just be a detective and to find who is going to be, Maziar Sojudian. Maziar Masudi is my boss, and he's amazing personality as well. The thing is, I'm talking about all of us, and I don't want to be a detective to see who works with ChatGPT or not. But the time that those who didn't pay attention to this part, when they go to any interview, they're gonna find that, we wish we just didn't use it in the constructive way, like just, hey, dear ChatGPT, give me the code. Definitely that would not be the case when you have interview, right? There is one last thing before I continue these parts is, maybe some of you said, you know what, Reza, I decided to work with C# and Python is not my cup of tea. Guess what? I had a chance when I was in bachelor level to take artificial intelligence or not. And we had a very tough prof. So I decided not to. And I was like, I'm not gonna deal with AI in my entire life. I was sure back then. I was 20. And guess what happened to me? Now, everywhere I either teach AI, artificial intelligence, or databases, or advanced programming, which is related to AI as well. So that is why that I strongly recommend, even if you think that Python is not your cup of tea, I spent a good amount of time. The idea of being in the college is not being specialist in one field, is to know all the fields. And you never know that when you're going to end up where you're going to end up working. You're going to end up working as engineer in data science or computer science or computer programming or what. So if everything about this part is, and you're going to have the folders for them by the end of tonight, so don't worry about it. Everything will be just provided for you for the folders. You're going to have your already assignments are already updated. And just to assure you, look at the assignments. If you see that 1 a.m. Today, I just updated everything. So not only that, assignments and even the final project, right? So I try to go through them, and Maziar is gonna, and for the labs, I'm not gonna share the labs. Maziar is going to be the one who works on that, okay? Getting back to resources, and for every single week, I'm gonna go through these things. There's a slim chance that I cannot cover one part in 1 week. So at the end of the semester, that is something that happened all the time. I promise that you will see all the topics will be covered fully. So don't worry about any of these things if you miss one topic in 1 week. There are some books that I have shared here. If somebody wants to just study Python with the goal of going towards data science, there are some libraries that you very much need, like NumPy, scikit-learn, Pandas, and TensorFlow, Keras, and so on. I very much like that book, but I know one person who had no idea about programming, and almost he failed in the midterm. He couldn't. Let's just euphemism. He didn't have enough knowledge to get a perfect result. And in another exam that we had, he just did amazingly great. And I was like, okay, what is the secret? And he said, I just went through this book. So I shared that. And the beautiful part about this, I know this generation likes something cool that you can add notes using your iPad or tablet and just adding your notes. This is pretty cool. I very much like yeah. So you see that the notes and the place, it has lots of room for you to add your notes. That's another. And sometimes you need to have some ideas about statistical analysis. And yeah, these are the resources. The last thing in the introduction would be this one, which is about me. So I graduate from TMU. They called it Ryerson before. And I taught and I'm teaching in different colleges at the moment. I have 3 places to teach. My home is George Brown, actually. I teach at Nipissing University and Centennial College as well. Before I mentioned that how many years of experience, then I thought that, okay, if I just keep mentioning that, people are going to calculate my age. That's not something that I like, so I just deleted that part. The second thing is these are the homeworks that I did when I was at Ryerson. So I needed to do these homeworks to get my degree. So the papers that I published, and then the thing is, thank you, Daniel. And the thing is, the standard way of communication would be our George Brown email. لا أستطيع بالتكلم اللغة العربية. The thing is, I provided the Telegram group for our friends to just have better communication. Sometimes it happened that when I'm on TTC, so I can just see your questions, especially if it's in the group, then I can answer and it's going to resolve many friends' issue. I come up with that idea when we lack the face-to-face communication during the COVID. So I kept that door after the COVID era, and I found it very useful. So it's totally optional. If you like, you can just be there. No, this is not in this course. And the good thing about Telegram, if you want to make a group with your friends and so on, is you don't need to share your contact. So it's going to be your nickname. It's like email kind of thing. So it's very secure. And the last thing is, one of the good thing about Telegram is I use it as a kind of free Dropbox. So you can simply drag and drop anything that you want into your saved folder, and there's no limitation for it. The only limitation is the amount of the size of each file. For instance, the amount of gig shouldn't be more than 1.5. So you can simply drag and drop an entire movie to your Dropbox. So, and you can simply use the desktop version, as you see that I have it here. And you can use web version like WhatsApp, but in WhatsApp, I needed to share my contact. I didn't want, so that's why I end up just using Telegram, which is more user friendly in many places that I go, and I just share that. By saying that, the first part of the introduction, yeah, it is super secure. And I think that, guys, about the things that I said, just please consider the number of participants that we have in the session. And it's amazing. We have 200 friends already. If there is any, so if everything is clear so far, please give me high five, type 5. Bravo. Thank you very much. If there is any specific question about me relevant to computer science and Python, the course that we have, or about the things that we already have, I would be thankful if you ask. And again, considering the number of participants, I can just take a few questions if it is super important. Please go ahead. And meanwhile that you try to answer that, I am going to share something with you. Yes, we are going to, Michael, thank you for a question. The question that Michael asked is, will we be using libraries? Not all of them actually, but a few of them will be discussed. And the continuation of this in semester number 5 would be data science with machine learning with data science, something, data science 1. I consider that data science 1 and data science 2. We are going to focus on semester 5, mostly on the libraries that are relevant to data pruning, data engineering, like NumPy and Pandas, and a little bit of machine learning. And after that, we are going to move in semester number 6 to deep learning. I hope I could answer you quickly. The other friend asked, as far as I remember, that why they called it open source kind of thing, right? If I recall it correctly, out of curiosity, can you please let me know why this course is, so Justin asked that. You see that's yeah. Well, the open source is one concept that Alexis correctly mentioned that. So we have free and we have open source, and there's a difference between them. So open source means that up to a certain level, you're allowed to use that. But free means that there is no guarantee for anything, no support for anything. I just had extra time. I wanted to spend it to do a project and share it with people. That's free. But the problem of free project is there is no support. There's no tomorrow for them necessarily. And why they call this one open source, let me tell you, there's a kind of bureaucratic process if they want to get acceptance for any course that they want to include in their curricula, in their program. Is it clear so far? So there is a kind of bureaucratic level that you have to go to the ministry and then to just submit something, and it takes quite a while for doing that. If they mention that Python, for instance, what about Julia? There is a program that they might replace it with Julia, which is specifically designed to work with machine learning and deep learning. There is another language which is called R, and they compete with each other. So definitely now Python is a pioneer. Java was pioneer once. C# was. So if tomorrow something new happened, they need to go to a very complicated process to change the name and get acceptance and so on. But if they say open source, they can easily replace it. That's the only reason. Did I answer your question, Justin? My pleasure. Please give me a second. I'm about to just show you something. And if you need, I can just share that on later. Okay. Can you see my schedule here on the screen? If yes, please. Okay, bravo. Thank you, Ahmed, Sherry, Justin. Merci. As you see, the kind of purple color belong to George Brown. So I have online sessions from 2 to 5, almost 2 classes back to back. And then tomorrow from 8 in the morning, all the way to 6 p.m., I have classes with just 1 hour for my lunch and a quick break, which is for my data science course, deep learning course that I have. And as you see, there are kind of empty, and they're not empty. I just use them to mark, to prepare the materials, and to just have sessions with the students. Normally, I have 4 hours per week that I need to spend to students upon the request. Sometimes more, sometimes less, but normally 4 hours. And if you need to talk to me about anything relevant to the courses that we have, for sure, please let me know. I can design an online session. And if I am blessed and lucky to have that, I received a question, but now I realize it's a private question that asked me that, are we going to have deep learning and machine learning, for example, in future with me? If I'm fortunate to have this pleasure of continuing our journey together, it would be my honor. I'm not sure. It depends on many things, including the decision of George Brown, right? But whatever happens, I just always wish the best for you guys. My pleasure. And if there's any other very important question that I missed, like the question that our friend said, why we call this course open source and so on, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna move to the next part. Okay, as I didn't receive any question. I'm going to share my schedule on the Telegram group, just in case if anyone wants to, and you can share with your fans later. But that's not very kind of important thing that I share it on the desire to learn. That's why I'm not gonna share it over there. So please give me a sec. Okay. If you please go to folder number 2. You can see all the files over there. I start with something very quick, and that's introduction. Guys, I know that it's a kind of boring topic, but let me ask you something, and can you please help me? Always I had those questions. SQL, have you ever passed SQL or database related courses? Lovely. Thank you very much. Okay, can you help me that what is SQL? Is it a language? FOPS. Oh, shoot. So which one is correct? Yes or no? Dorsa says no. Lucas says no. Some people. Okay. And what is Python? Python is Michael said skill is used. It's a script. What is a scriptive language then? Scripting language. I see high level. Fab, can you server-side programming language, not a language, a tool for retrieving data, Sherry's RAE. Okay, just I got confused. That's not my expertise, so that's why maybe I shouldn't ask that question. I don't understand the intention of the question. You're gonna get that. The question is, what is SQL? Whenever we want to teach something, we need to have a kind of gate opener introduction. That is how I just ask some questions. I don't give the answer. Just follow the crowd. Okay. Yes, it is recorded. Okay, how about this, guys? Excel is a language too in the definition of some of you, right? I have 13 minutes to finish that. So in that case that you said that we deal with just data, so Excel would be so guys, can you please, thank you very much for sharing that from. Okay, so just please tell me yes or no. Excel would be a language as well because it works with data. So what is Excel then? So almost majority is an application. Okay, so data sheet. Okay, because I need to finish this before 3 and we need to go to the next part, please allow me to just tell. Everybody knows that computer is divided into 2 parts. Okay, thank you. Not to get distracted myself, I'm going to just close for a few minutes the chat. I'm going to get back to that. Guys, a computer is divided into software and hardware, the things that you can touch about computer hardware, the programs inside it, software. The most important software could be system software, which is divided into 3 portions: operating system, utilities, and languages. And the other thing that we deal with, especially when we deal with portable devices like phones, tablets, you name it, they're applications. Oh, we have desktop applications for sure as well. But what are the major responsibilities of operating systems? Let's just get back to this. Anybody can tell what are the major responsibilities of operating systems?
Could you repeat that, please?
What are the major responsibilities of operating systems or OS? Okay. The connection of all these dots give us the correct answer. you said all collectively correct answers. Yes, memory management, file management, providing UI, and taking care of the hardware. To memorize the tasks of the operating systems, imagine that OS is something like a manager. A manager needs to do 3 different steps: detecting the resources, assigning them to a project, and then release them when the project is done. I repeat it. To detect the resources, assign them to the projects, and release them when they are done. These are the major responsibilities of a manager. Likewise, any operating system. When your computer is booting up, it detects the hardware like the hard drive, RAM, CPU, keyboard, anything. And when you want to play a game, for example, it's going to dedicate the sound card, the video card, the RAM, whatever it is needed to play that game. And when you are done with that, it's going to release it and make it ready to be applied to the other project. It could be, for instance, watching a YouTube video. Does that make sense? If it is clear, please type 1. Lovely. But not everything can be done by an operating system. Like what? Is operating system per se is responsible for taking care of the performance of the system? If you say yes, don't mislead yourself by Microsoft. Microsoft does many things in Windows, which is not the major responsibilities of the operating system. So those things like accelerating the performance of the hard drive. We did it by hard diagnose applications before, or taking care of the viruses. They are the things that are on the shoulder of utilities. But now imagine that the computer is ready. We have a manager. We have utilities to make it up and running. But how can we talk to computer? And that happens through the languages. The very first language that we had was low-level languages, right? Let me just try my painting for a sec. Guys, if everything is clear, please type 2 this time. Yay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Just please give me a second. I always give that example to my friends, to my colleagues, just to remember. Imagine that we have a human I remember since I was 20, I wanted to learn how to work with Photoshop and the other, and I couldn't find any time yet. So imagine that we have, not that bad, I don't need actually, right? So we have this guy, gentleman over there. And then, just forgive me, my painting is getting better every semester. Yeah, and we have, guys, what is this one? Supposed to be a computer, right? Okay, awesome. So guys, which one do you prefer? Which one do you prefer, to put this computer, which is heavy, on the head of this poor guy, or to ask that guy to stay on top of the computer? Which one do you prefer? I know that it's a kind of silly question, but I have a point on that. What happened to this? Come on. You really want this poor guy to just hold that on his... Okay. I personally prefer You see how I'm good with this. Yeah, so this guy is standing now on top of the computer. The reason that I'm saying that is if a language is close to human being, we call it top level, and if it is close to computers, we call it low level, right? So the first languages that we had was binary language, and then we had hex, oct, you name it, all those things. The very famous language that we had was assembly language, and but the problem of assembly language was it was very hard to learn and very hard to debug. Okay, so please just write down this in the message box. What are the problems of the assembly language? What are the hard to understand, hard to debug, and hard to... Lovely, Chuan. Merci. Bravo. Yeah, when it is hard to learn and when it is hard to debug, it's not user-friendly, definitely. Great. Okay. So that is why they started teaching something. They started, inventing something similar. The very first language, which was high level, was formula translation, or for short, Fortran. So if yes, Kaylee, bravo. So formula translation or Fortran. And after that, we had different versions of basics, Pascal, you name it. But the problem of high-level languages like Fortran or Pascal was it was not very much friendly for computers. Like the performance was dismal. The performance was not that great. So we needed to compromise and find something in the middle, right? To get the advantage of both sides, to have relatively high performance and relatively easy to understand and learn. Do you know what do we call the category of those languages? No, the category of the languages that are in the middle of these two. So here's low level, guys. You said it correctly, right? This is the low level and this is the high level. But what is in the middle? Surprisingly enough, middle level languages. Yes. But don't worry, Kylie. Middle level languages. And what is the first or one of the first languages that it is very famous, actually? Lovely, Ivan. Merci. C. C language. And do you know what is the language that C was built on? What is the first language that C got the idea and built upon it? No, C++ was after it. Wow. Guys, I'm serious about it. The language before C was B language. Honestly. Don't ask me. I don't know if B is based on A language or what. But the thing is, yeah. The thing is, there's one funny thing. The guy who created that language was Dennis Ritchie. Yeah, and Dennis Ritchie was a kind of awesome person. I just give you 1 minute bio about him. He was great to provide us that language, and he was in a project that, because I saw the name before among the things that you said. Have you ever heard about an operating system called Multi-X? Anyone? Multi-X. Multi-X. Okay. Bell Laboratory tried to create a project to write an operating system, to provide an operating system for mainframes back then in 1960s, 1970s. And one of the engineers in that group was Dennis Ritchie. And he had some awesome ideas, but because the manager was not very much happy with the idea, said, okay, go back to your work, and we just do whatever we have to do for the project. And guess what happened? He said, okay, you know what? I'm going to spend time working on my own project and doing something just as a hobby. And because the project that they call it was multi-X, because of hundreds of engineers that they were working on, he called his project Uni-X. And all of you have heard about Unix, right? The father of Linux and all the operating systems that one person could change if just that person knows what he wants and believe in himself, believe in themselves, for sure. Yeah. So you see that there are this person, we owe him a lot because of C language, father of all modern languages that we use, and because of the Linux, Unix, all those amazing operating systems that are open sources. So we talked about this, and what about super high-level languages? Some people say that, for instance, Python is high-level language. Some people say it is super high-level language. And the thing is, there's no kind of vivid line to split, to separate them from each other, right? If somebody says that Python is a high-level language, say, yeah, you're right. Or if they say that Python is a super high-level language, say, yeah, you're right. And the thing is, I have no knowledge about Swift, Alijan. I don't have. The thing is, yeah, R is in the category of high-level languages. And it's kind of a scripted language. I'm going to talk about that. Okay, so the Windows 95 was the beginning of visual operating system that we had using GUI, graphic user interface, by Microsoft. Before that, we had Windows as a shell on top of the command line. But after that, when Windows started to showing the graphical user interface, the first language that Microsoft supported was Visual Basic. And after that, Borland started working on Visual Pascal, and they call it Delphi, which the name has come from the goddess of the ancient Greek gods, the god of knowledge. And they started an era, and C# goes to that category. So the idea of super high level is it's pretty close to things that you can guess. So that's why we have magic sticker in many of them. So the idea of saying super high level or fourth generation technologies come from them. Windows 3.1 was the last shell, Alexis, that worked before. The next one, they wanted to have Windows 4, but because there was a kind of jump, and they said, why just being under the dominant of commands line? So let's just have a revolution and just make our own, operating system called Windows. The memory management was the biggest part, borrowed by the idea of the anyway. So now we have kind of picture over there, and yeah. Thank you, Tomer. Okay. So can we just get back to the question that I started? And that was what about SQL? Is it a language or is it an application? Okay. I don't think that I have highlighted. It's one of the pages at the beginning of this book. And it's exactly talked about the features of SQL, and it said that it is. Oh, can you please do not search for me? I'm gonna find it myself. Okay, my apologies. So it is mentioned that it is not a language like, because you expect to have output like applications that, guys, I don't want to, I have friends, they are PhD in computer science, computer engineering, and some believe that SQL is a language, and they are very much, I mean, serious about their opinion. You cannot argue with them. And I have friends that they say, well, actually, SQL is not a language, it's an application. And there is a kind of idea between these two, which says that the SQL is actually a sub language. It is something in the middle and is there to manipulate the data that we have, has 7 different functionalities, 5 major categories. And if I can just find it somewhere in here. And because it works with data, it's like, in terms of, I mean, similarities, it's like Excel, which is an application to work with data. It doesn't provide anything as the output, right? So I don't insist on any of them. I just want you, if you go to an interview and somebody asks that, okay, what is the, here it is, I'm sorry to take your time to get to this page. It says that structured query language, and it is not a language because it's called language, and it is a sub language kind of thing. And yes, it has commands that makes it very much close to scriptive languages. And if you ask what is scriptive languages, they are the languages that are designed for a specific machine or just on a specific purpose. And what is the specific purpose of SQL? Working with data. So please pay attention to this to me. If somebody asks you, you can have your own opinion. You could say that some people believe that it is a language because it has commands. Some people believe that it's an application because, like Excel, it works with tables and data, but it takes care of the integrity of the data. And some people think that because it is working specifically with data, it is a kind of sub-language or a scripting language. Does that make sense? Did I answer the question clearly for you guys? If yes, please give me the second high five. Yes, Oleg, the languages that are specific, some people call them scriptive language, and some people call them sub-languages. Long story short, you can have your opinions. There is no true or false. There are some people in this, not only in computer, in any, that they say that the only truth is what I say. I've passed that time. So I think that we need to have a kind of platform to say, okay, I have these opinions, and because of that, I think it is, for instance, it belongs to this one or that one, or who cares? It is SQL, and it does its own functionalities. Part of it, it's in language, part of it, it's in application. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's go to the next part together. This is something that I'm very proud of. Satish and what he did, I quickly go through all this. I hope, guys, you enjoyed what we had together so far. Okay. Thanks, Jem, Audrey. Okay, the thing is, in one definition, it's a high-level language, and the guy who did this, who provided Python, he did it in the 2-week New Year holidays. Imagine what he could make if he had more time. Why we choose Python? Easy to pick up, readable code, huge amount of open source libraries, lots of support, lots of documentations, and many major companies now, and they need it, they ask for it. We have 3 major platforms that we can work with it. The old-fashioned form of platforms that we worked with was text editors. And the IDEs are kind of developed version of the text. You have nice, neat environment to see your errors. And you have notebook environments, which is a kind of new platform, right? So the text editor, Windows R, and if I say Python, right? And if I say A is equal to 10, for example, and I say print A, it's going to just show the result. And this is a kind of text environment. And whenever you install Python, there is pretty close to okay. It's mostly close to Linux IDEA. Alexis, if you allow me, I'm going to just answer that later. Excuse me. So yeah, so the text editors that still they use it a lot, like Sublime, Atom, during that category. And we have visual interfaces that we call it integrated development environments, like PyCharm, Visual Studio Code, and so on for Python, Spider. And then so if you can hear me clearly, please type 1. Okay. Just to let you know, it's the trick that mostly I use to make sure that everybody just focus here, not there. Okay. And we have Jupyter Notebook. The idea came around 2000. And they made it kind of cellular kind of concept. So you just do one thing in one cell and you go to the next part and so on. And let me just, where is the, I'm sorry. What's it? If I say Jupyter Notebook, Jupyter with funny dictation. If you type it, or if you go to Anaconda, and then you select that, it takes oopsie. Did I do anything since last night? Okay, here it is. I'm sorry. I cd / and then cd my apple. yep, and then Jupyter notebook. I'm going to say why it didn't work in the command prompt. The reason for that is I didn't put it into the environmental parameters because I mostly use Colab and I didn't want to destroy the workflow. This is just for the demo in the class. Anyway, so if I go there and say new Python, it's going to show you this interface. I do the same thing. I say A equal to 10, for example. I press Shift and Enter, or you can just say run the same thing. So B is equal to 20. And if you forget, because I always forget, you can just click on here and see the hotkeys, shortcut keys. And if I say C is equal to A plus B, and if I say print C, what's going to happen? It's going to show you the result. And if I say C, the same thing, right? And I want everybody try this one at the same time. Say Colab. And then get to this environment and say new notebook. And then when you get there, this time say X is equal to 2, Shift Enter, Y equal to 3, and Z is equal to X times Y. And please help me why it doesn't work at my computer, why it shows me error now. Don't underline it. Don't underline it. Guys, do you see what is the problem? Oh, shoot, yes. You got my mistake. So guys, you should help this old guy many a time during the semester, okay? Awesome. Actually, this is one of the most sensitive languages that you could ever have. Even with the space, it's gonna just show ridiculous behavior. So our friend said, how about Colab? I don't know how to work with. Can I log out? Because I had it from long ago. Okay, guys, when you, let me just see if I have it in other environments. Colab. Hopefully it's good. Oh no. Okay, so look at this one. If you get to Colab for the first time, there's a sign-in process over there. And if you click that, it's like getting into your email, your Gmail technically. This is the subsidiary of one of the services that they provided on the cloud in Google. So if you click there, it's going to ask you, wow, it's going to ask you which account you're going to use for that. Does that make sense? And after that, when you get to a new place, let's just have a new. Unfortunately, I don't think so. I'm not sure. I don't think so because it is based. The college is based on Microsoft Outlook. Yes, and this one is based on Google services. I don't think so. It has to be, as Sherry said, your Google account. Okay, so everybody could just experience that. Lovely. Okay. Just one thing, as a short, very mini break, I want to tell you something here. And guys, look, we started with over 200 out of 300 some participants in the semester. Yes, we can. And simply, you can just use Control and you can do all these things. Scroll up and down. And now we have 178. Thank you guys. A round of applause for those who stayed. This is actually one block in the castle in the making, that you take care of one block at a time, one brick at a time. No, later, Alexis, don't worry about it now. Later, okay? And the thing is, guys, you're gonna see in future as well, those who persistent, those who don't give up, they're gonna get the goal. I have people who graduate from college and they started having 6-figure job, just to let you know. Let's go to the next part together. Yeah, Jupiter, we talked about all of them, and I provided a kind of how to install Anaconda and how to work with it. You saw that I used this trick. I quickly just tell you why I use that, because if you just directly type Anaconda, Jupyter Notebook, in the shell that it has, it is going to open it inside your My Document, and you do not have full control where to store and do those kind of things. This is how I can have full management on it. By saying that, I finished all the prerequisites, and now the main meal. We had finished our salad, we had finished everything, and now it's the main meal time, and that is this one. And the next two slides that you see, please just look at them. Okay, and I have no idea. I try to find that if it was funny that said we have two types of programmers. Those who work with, I couldn't, hopefully later. I'm not going to take your time for that. Those who just work with dark screen and those who work with yeah, light screen. For me, it's just because sometimes I'm at my desk for 12 hours or more, my eyes get tired. So that's why I prefer darker screen. Anyway, getting to this one, okay, can you please just, okay, good. Can you please, if everything is super clear, give me the third high five. Please type 5. Yay, lovely class. Awesome. Okay, so actually, based on the book that we had different versions of Python, and it's totally different, Python 2 and Python 3. And last night I checked, right now we have Python 12, and they promise to have 3.13 pretty soon, right? And the thing is, they said Python has a simple syntax, and why we, long story short, why we prefer Python rather than the others. We already got that. And then it says that supports the development of a wide range of things like web application, front-end application, in general, machine learning, deep learning, you name it. Lots of things can be done by Python. And who can read this? Yeah, and actually this is one of the fundamental parts in Python programming. No. Okay, look at this one. What is this? Anybody knows? Yeah, but samurai in which status? Okay, let's just, I intentionally wanted you meditation. What is the specific name for meditation of samurais or people? Excellent. So we have something which is called Python Zen, right? Okay, so lovely, excellent, excellent. So what I'm gonna do, this is something that you're gonna have fun. Just watch this one while I'm gonna mute myself, as well as, where is the thing? I'm gonna mute myself and I'm gonna give you these few moments to enjoy this music. And after that, we're gonna continue together, okay? Oh, okay, Nigar, not a problem. Okay. Great. So I'm going to mute myself, watch it, and then we are going to come back together. I'll talk about it, Daniel, in no time. My pleasure, Nigar. Okay. I think that I'm not muted anymore. Whenever you are done with the music, please just type 1. Excellent. Merci. Yeah. In one of the lectures that I shared, that one of the students said that, hey, how could I tell my parents that I'm in a class, really? That's a very brief way of saying Python Zen. And I received that question from one of the team members saying that, what's the difference between, thank you, Fab, that's very nice of you. Asking that, what is the difference between complex and complicated? Okay, that's a very good question. I can say any complex question or any complex problem is, if you analyze it, it's going to be several simple components in it that if you just dive deeper, you can understand the simple part that you put them together and make a complex structure. But complicated, it's like a kind of knot that you cannot open the knot. You need to spend a lot of time, and you cannot analyze it to simple components. In general, if you can do something in a simple way, please do it that way. If not, try to make it the way that it could be the combination of some simple parts, make it a complex. But complicated means actually you don't know what it is, and you cannot analyze it to simple parts. Okay? I want you just to have one drawn view of these two slides, slide number 8 and 9. The good thing about Python is you don't need always to use something like loop. You know that loop drastically decrease the performance. If it is possible, just not use it. Use a flat programming kind of thing. Huh? Reza, give me an example. Just stay tuned. Semester number 5, we have a concept. We call it broadcasting. And you see that, Alexis, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Means if you have an option not to go through the loop, don't go there, right? Because it's the matter of changing the order, or big O, from C constant to something like n log n or n2, and so on and so forth. I'm not gonna dive deep into these two slides. I just want you to, if you want to take something from this, make your program as simple as possible. You're gonna see programmers are minimal in lifestyle as well. We don't very much like complicated things. We try to simplify the things, and we use algorithmic analysis. It is very obvious in our code too. Write your code as neat as possible, as simple as possible. If you see that somebody is talking very sophisticated and you think that that person knows more than you, just look at it with a grain of salt. If somebody knows something like the back of their hand, they should be able to simplify it and explain it easily. The next thing that I want to tell is something that we have already covered. We have graphic user interface, we have console applications, web application, and a scripted language. And look at this part, please. For scripted language, I've borrowed, for instance, if somebody wants to know, there are the specific languages that they deal with a specific machine or system. As you see, existing system scripting languages are usually interpreted at runtime, so they are mostly interpreter languages and not compilers. Apart from it, the console is something that we saw in a second ago. And then this is a simple graphic user interface. Whenever you install whatchamacallit, Python, ideally is part of the package. So you can simply click on that. And if you install Anaconda and Python and PyCharm, you're going to have that. Please try to check if you have IDLE. If yes, please type 1. If you don't, then please type 2. Those do not have, worry not. You have plenty of time to install and enjoy it. And this is not something that don't worry, Alexis. This is not something that we immediately need. I just want to stand back, relax, and just enjoy what I'm doing. So I say C is equal to 100, for example, and I say print C, and then it's going to just show the, whenever you install Anaconda, Python, then you're going to have it. It's in the appendix. So Alexis, it's not a bad idea that you search how to install Anaconda and watch a video, and it's going to be a step-by-step. It shows you the recent version of the Python. First, you need to install Python, and then next step, and so on. Okay. And if you have any further question in the labs, Maziar will help you, because I don't have any access to your computer at the moment. The funny thing that we have in this very simple, it's like a shell over the command prompt. Look at this one, please. We have test py I have created, and I want to open it with, I'm going to open it with a notepad, for example. And you see, I just said print hello from Reza. And here I go and say open. And I'm going to go to desktop and open this test. And if I say run, look at this, it's going to just say hello from Reza, right? As simple as that. So we can just do the stuff here. One quick question, guys. Should we use single quote for strings or double quote? I've forgotten that. I use that single quote, but which one is more appropriate? Let me just say print, you're almost there. You sure? Okay. Okay, as you see, both of them work equally, but you shouldn't, I mean, just make mistake to use, look, here I just said, let's say Reza 777, for example, and you see that this one works. But the thing is, you should be, I'm sorry, consistent, right? And to use, because we are going to use that. If you use single quote, use both single quotes. If you use double quotes. If that is the question, how, okay, let me just search for you. Download the latest Python. The first one is going to be this one. So whenever you download this, right, and I'm going to just search it for you. Okay, you can just easily download that, and in a package, when you install, you're going to have the IDLE. For the rest of the things like PyCharm, when you download that, you don't need to do anything. It's going to find it. Did I answer your question, Alexis?
Do I click the download Python button? That
Yes. Yes.
All right.
If you use Windows, if you use other operating systems like macOS, please click on the proper. By default, it's for the Windows.
All right. So stable releases. December.
It's not a big deal. For the level that we are working, it's not a big deal. Yeah. Okay. So by saying that, let me just bring you back to where we left off. So here, and yeah, you can just use, this is the last major concept that I want to talk for today. And that is where you see that we have the code, no matter if you are using PyCharm, if you're using Visual Studio Code or something, you're going to have a code, right? And you're going to save it in a memory. Look at this one, whatever you want to stay persistently in your computer, you're going to just save it into storage. And then we have Python interpreter. Guys, if everything was super clear in just these 3 steps that I said, you write a code, you save it somewhere with Python extension, and then you call Python interpreter to start working on it. just these 3 steps. Please type 3. Excellent. Lovely team. Okay. And then the thing is, it's not going to get operated by any specific compiler. Whenever you pass it to Python, it's going to use interpreter to make something in the middle, which is called bytecode. And the idea has come from Java, or the initial project was called Oak. Guess what? After you have bytecode, then the bytecode is going to be transferred. It really depends on the operating system that you have. They have something like Java Virtual Machine, JVM. We have Python Virtual Machine, or PVM. And then it's going to bring it to that operating system. There is no time. I would love to talk about this extensively, just to give you a grasp of that idea. If you are working with PCs, the address of memory is something different. If you're working with something like Macintosh, or if you're working with the old-fashioned mini computers, like or if you work with SuperDOM, or if you work with any of those computers before. So because we don't know where we are end up, we need to have different interpreters that convert the things to that specific machine. The job of that part is by PVM here. The same concept applies to JVM. We have the same concept in CLR, Common Language Runtime, in Microsoft, and so on. This is just for the transparency of the code they call, that you can just run one code without any changes on different platforms. Not a bad idea to read a little bit about it and dive deeper the similarities between JVM, CLR, and PVM. Apart from it, so main memories and disk storage, this is something whenever you run something, every single line that you run, it goes to the CPU, then you run it in RAM, and when you want to store it, you're going to work with files in the auxiliary memory called hard drive. And later you're going to see that. Apart from it, ideally, this is something that we work with, how to work, how to get it. We just talked about it. And then the good thing is, guys, listen to this part. Because we have a good number of friends in the class. Yes, I'm going to talk about it. Because we have a good number of people in the class, we do not have a chance to answer detailed technical questions. That is going to be shifted to the labs. So Maziar is kind enough to take care of the things at labs. And by all means, whenever you have any question, feel free to ask me in Telegram, and you can ask for the online session as well. And I told you, you have my schedule. I'm going to post it on the Telegram. That's how we can just proceed. Today, I just wanted to not to have a very kind of dense class. So let's just close it a bit sooner. If there is any question, any concern, anything that you want to share or tell, or any specific concerns that you have that my reply could help many, please ask. If not, my pleasure, Sherry. Where can I find this one, PowerPoint? A good question. The already, if you please go to the what do we call it? To the course shell all in one, you can see that this is week 01C. Yes. Any other concern question? No, not a problem. Please ask. That's my responsibility to answer you. Okay, guys, it's a pleasing pleasure to meet with you all, even virtually. I'm really honored to have this session with you, and hopefully I try my best to have an amazing semester together, learn from each other. Have a wonderful one. Take care of yourself, stay healthy, and see you next week. Ciao. Au revoir. Bye.
Sorry, have a nice one.
Thank you, Matthew.